are here in Waco waiting to get loaded. We're also waiting to get called into a loading dock. So it's going to be a few more minutes, I guess. We already been here over 2 hours. I went up there and checked with the guy, and we're supposed to be the next one in line. There's one in front of us that's going to get called in, and then we'll be after that one. So, well, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you. I called safety, and I got permission to park where I'm parked. I hate parking here. I don't want to park here. But the guy at the thing, he's got to come out and check your trailer. Well, he's not going to walk a mile down the road down yonder to come check the trailer to make sure you're ready to get loaded. I've already asked him. So I called safety, explained the situation. They said, okay, have your flashers, put out your triangles. So I went to do that, but they said if you're the last truck in line. So there's a USA truck behind me. He pulled up behind me just as I pulled in, so I didn't have to put out my triangles. I still got my flashers on, and another Landstar truck went by, and I was like, man, I wonder if he's gonna call in on me, But I got the person's name and safety, what time I called, everything, got all that information, covered my butt, Anyway, once we get loaded, we're gonna head on down to Laredo and get down there and spend the night, and then go in the morning, get the trailer inspected, and drop and hook, and then go pick up our empty trailer and find a good place to park and just wait for Friday morning. I might go by there because it's first come, first serve on getting loaded. I may go by there after lunch Thursday just to see if they might load me early, a day early. They probably won't, but at least I can try. Don't hurt anything to try. And we'll see how it works out. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This load here is gonna be a little bit emotional for me because this will be the first time since going back over the road that I'm going to be driving right past the spot where I almost died. I've been in some horrific wrecks. I have. And I can show you the pictures of some of them. I don't have pictures of all of them. But that wreck there was by far the most horrific, I'm for sure gonna die wreck I've ever been in. And that, if you saw some of the vehicles that I've wrecked, you would understand what I'm saying. For me to say that, this wreck was just, I should have been dead. I'll be honest with you, I should have been dead. Just by the grace of God, I got out of that truck. Just before I lost consciousness, I almost lost consciousness. I was getting dizzy, about to pass out. And when I finally punched through the windshield enough, I could stick my head out and get some fresh air. So it was horrific for sure. So you can see from those pictures how bad it really was. And it's hard, if you've ever been inside of a burning vehicle, burning house, anything that was burning down around you, and the heat and the smoke and the desperation, it was just, I ain't lying. I'm usually a cool character. It takes a lot to rattle me. But I was in full-blown panic mode, I'll be honest with you. I was in a frantic scream for my life. And no one would help me. People would just drive by. The fire from the truck created a huge flame, huge light that lit up the darkness. And I could see every vehicle that came by. I could see the people. I could see their faces. I could see their eyes as they looked at me inside that truck, behind that windshield, screaming for my life, begging for help. I honestly thought I was gonna die, man. It was no joke. I was just punching as hard as I could with my fist, trying to get a hole in that glass. I was so desperate, I started lunging my head first, trying to bust it with my head. That wasn't working. I went back to swinging with my fist as hard as I could swing. I finally got this hand through there enough that I could peel the glass back enough to stick my face out the thing to get some air. If I hadn't been able to do that and get that little bit of fresh air, that little bit of air, I would have passed out probably within the next 30 seconds. Because I was already so dizzy I couldn't stand. I just kept peeling the glass back, just peeling it. Cut my hands, arms. I was picking glass out of my head for like over a month. And it was, God, it was just, it was really bad. To walk away from that with just a half torn off toe and some minor burns, some severe smoke inhalation. That was just the hand of God. So, driving back by there today is going to be, it's going to be rough. It's just down the road a ways from here. A little bitty small town called Elmont, E-L-M space M-O-T-T, Elmont. I-35. Guarantee you I'll have both hands on the wheel. That night that it happened, I had one hand on the wheel, one hand on the gear shifter. That's the way I always drove. I had a 10-speed stick. I always drove with my hand on the gear, one hand on the gear shifter, one hand on the steering wheel. And or either I would drive with my right hand, my left arm on the driver's side door. That's how you get that redneck tan. Look at that. That's dark, ain't it? But anyway, I'm driving along and it's like somebody just reached out of the night, grabbed hold of that steering wheel and pulled it just as hard as they could. And I went that way. I didn't go that way. I went that way, straight across, just across. There was no veering off. It was a hard left turn. And like I said, it's just by the grace of God I survived. They always tell me every time I have one of those bad wrecks, man, God must have a reason for you being here. You should be dead. And they say that ain't the first time I heard it. You would think by now I'd never climb in another vehicle as many wrecks I've had and severe as they've been. But, you know, you have to make a living. You have to pay your bills. You have to support your family. And I love driving. Don't get me wrong. I don't do it just for the money. If I could make the same amount of money working in a factory driving a forklift, I'd still do this. Just because I love it. I love traveling. I love seeing people and seeing places, and I just love driving, man, in general. I'm gonna do my best to hold it together, and I'm an emotional person. I ain't gonna lie about it. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm not some cold-hearted person. I have a lot of emotions inside of me, and I'm passionate about a lot of stuff, and so I got mixed emotions about video and going through there. If I do video it, it'll probably be on the GoPro. I know it's changed a lot, because that was July 2014 when that happened. So it's been almost 5 years. I'm sure it's changed a lot through there. But I'll be honest with you, there's very few days that pass in a row where I don't think about that night, early that morning. So it's bad. I just pray to God, if I'm ever driving by and I see somebody inside of a burning vehicle, that I'm not a yellow-bellied piece of crap coward that's just gonna watch them scream for their life. I couldn't do it. Landstar has a sit and duck policy, like I talked about when I started this. But don't you think for 1 second I wouldn't pull that truck over and go pull that person out of that burning vehicle. I may lose my lease, but that's okay. I still couldn't let nobody just die.